Kristine Lilly, thank you so much for joining us today. You have been on the U.S. Women's National Team since you were 16 years old. Goodness gracious.
Tell me about it. That was a long time ago.
Obviously, there was a semifinal this morning. You have played in World Cup finals. What was that like for you?
You know, it was, it's been incredible to watch the whole World Cup, the games, the level of play. But I think watching this game and seeing the excitement that's happening in Australia and New Zealand over the World Cup is amazing. And it kind of brought me back to the '99 a bit for the attention of the game. And for, obviously, we've grown it here, but I think around the rest of the world, it's still continue to grow. And I think you've seen this World Cup how much it has grown in Australia specifically because of how well the Matildas have done and how well they played. And I just wanted one more goal for Kerr to tie it up and go to overtime. I mean, there's been so many overtime games. Why couldn't this have been one?
Yeah, we never wanted this one to end.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was worth getting up at 6 a.m. here, and I love England too. I mean, I have that side I want to talk about too, but it was a great game.
It has been a fantastic World Cup. So many record-breaking moments as you talk about the growth of the game in Australia. This is a jumping-off point for that nation and that side of the hemisphere. However, we have two teams that are heading to their very first final, England against Spain. You've got a big smile on your face. You've watched these teams throughout the World Cup. What have you seen from either side?
Well, I just seen composure is like the word I come to first. I think they've been playing their game. Obviously, not always their best, but I think for the most part, they've been closer to like a 90% game each of the games they played in. I think Spain had that one hiccup game against Japan, I believe it was.
Yep.
But I think they've just played their game and they've just been composed with their game plan. England, especially in this last game, watching it, I mean, they go up, they get tied, and they still just start knocking around and score immediately after that. And Spain, that young player right there, I forget her last name, Herrera.
Salma.
Yeah. Call her Salma, yeah.
Oh my gosh, when she went in the game, I was like, oh, something's going to happen. So I think they have some stars that are making things happen, but overall, I think both teams, they've had a solid team success, effort on the field, and success for themselves as a team.
Now, Kristine, I had the distinct pleasure of interviewing you for the last World Cup in front of the Eiffel Tower. Tell me, you mentioned it a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about what you've seen of the growth of this game over the last 4 years, where we've moved to a 32-team World Cup. We've seen talent from all over the planet. How have you seen the growth?
Well, I think it just in 4 years has been incredible. I mean, obviously, if you're looking from the first World Cup to now, you've seen incredible growth. But then within this 4 years, I think you've seen a lot. And this is the biggest pool of players, of teams for the World Cup. And to have a round of 16 game, which we've never had for the women's side, is incredible. And to see the same level of play now going to the side with that extra game has been awesome. But you see teams like Portugal. I mean, 4 years ago, I don't think they were where they are now. You've seen these first-time teams, Jamaica. You've seen the African countries be so competitive in this World Cup and exciting to watch. And so you've seen that growth within a short period of time. And I think that's due to the support they're getting, the finance behind the women's game and all over the world and not just the U.S. You're seeing it everywhere. And then specifically Spain, I believe that all the Spanish men's team have to have a Spanish women's team, if I'm correct. So you've seen that change because now we're going to have a team. We need to support this. So I think you've seen the finance support. You've seen the coaching. You've seen the players just players eager to want to play and be in that environment. And I don't know the statistics behind the Spanish team of how many players aren't there from the team would do with all the stuff they've gone through. So that's even showed the depth that they've had, which has been amazing.
It really has been a World Cup of depth, Lil. And it doesn't surprise me that you chose a winger to call out there, Selma Parayuelo, and what she has done. You are the best winger to ever play for the U.S. Women's National Team. 354 caps. Nobody is catching that ever. But when you look at this U.S. team and you look at the depth that they have at winger, what do you see from some of these players, and where do you think their trajectory can be from a player like Rodman or Williams and what they can contribute going forward?
Yeah, well, I look at the U.S. and that was probably the youngest team we've ever had in a World Cup. So you have a lot of youth to grow from. I mean, obviously you have the veteran players, and going through the process of being a young player and then getting to be the end of your career is not an easy thing. So obviously you have different roles to do, but I think this youth that we have has a lot of future ahead of them. And now look at that, I think there was 14 players that were the first World Cup. So now after this, they have that experience on the belt. Trinity Rodman, she's just fresh and green. She's got so much to grow with while she's got the natural abilities that she does have. Sophia Smith, I mean, this is the first big stage for her. I mean, she did well in the league, and then this is like, welcome to the World Cup. It's not going to be that an easy cakewalk. So you just see these players like, okay, now I see. But the Gurma, right there on the screen, she's a player that I thought was tremendous in this World Cup. Just composed. I felt like she's been in like 5 World Cups already. Yeah. So they have a lot of growth to do, and they have a lot to build on. I mean, never any World Cup that the U.S. have ever played in was easy. And then you move along to this, going to a 13, a field team. So it's never easy, and you got to play your game, and you got to score somehow. To, So I think whether it's PKs, whether it's regular time. So I think, there people have been hard on the team, and, obviously they're probably disappointed. But I think there's just so much to grow with this, and with the youth coming, next year's Olympics, and then obviously the next World Cup coming up after that.
There is no lack of talent for this U.S. team with the young players, as you just talked about, all the players you mentioned. However, there has been a lot of conversation about the head coaching position and if there will be change there, when that change will come, how it will come. We want to know from you, Kristine Lilly, who's your pick to lead this United States team moving forward?
Oh, wow. That's tough. I think, obviously, it's a position that you have to dedicate, the next cycle, 4-year cycle with, and love the game like these coaches do. I mean, I'm Serena Wigman for the English team. If she wins a World Cup with this team, I would love to see her come over to the U.S. Just because I know her. I played a year with her at North Carolina, and what she's done with 2 different countries in the 8-year span, I think, or 4-year spans, 5-year span, has been incredible. But, I think there is talented American coaches, which would also be a great get to get an American coach back in there that knows the U.S. team and knows the growth of our players.
All right, now, Kristine, we've been asking you some pretty serious questions. Just put you on the spot there. Now, let's take it back a little bit. You obviously were known for your play on the pitch, but me, watching you growing up, I noticed the drip. You had the white Predators, the gold Predators. You made sure that the style was there as well as the play. What do you think is the role of kind of looking good and feeling good and playing well as well?
It's funny that you bring that up. I remember, obviously it's the person, not the shoe. But I have to say, when I was playing, and I had Adidas had all different colors, and I think back in the day it was black Copas that I used to love. But I was going with I had some white ones, and then I had some red ones, and then Adidas had these black shoes that I started wearing, and I was on the field, and I was playing like crap, and I was like, it's gonna be the shoes, not the shoe itself, the color. Yeah. The color. Adidas shoes are the best. But I changed and put my white ones on. I felt fast. I felt lighter. I don't know. Yeah. So I do think there is a feel that players have, and it's mental. Obviously, 80% of this game, I would say even more, is mental. So you got to feel good, and for yourself, feel like you look good as well.
Kristine, now that we have you here, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to just give me your perspective of the save off the goal line in that World Cup. I know you've talked about it a million times, but you're here. You have to tell me what you saw, what you were feeling in that moment.
It's if you look at the games that you play, I mean, there's always moments. There's tons of moments that lead up to whatever happens in the end. And I can remember, I remember going to the goalpost on the corner, because I've been there. Shoot, I think 23 years I was on the national team. I think I've had that same position for 22. I mean, who wants a 5'4" out there trying to head ball? So. And heading is my weakest part of my game. However, it helped us to stay alive. And I remember being on that post, and I remember just grabbing on and just China was coming at us, because Michelle just went out, and I was like, they were just drilling us. And I think they had a bunch of corners. And I just remember a ball going by, moving a bit over, and then the ball coming. And I just was like, I jumped a little bit. Thank God it wasn't much higher, and headed out. But the funny thing, when it landed in that 6-yard box. There was 3 Chinese players getting ready to head it, and Brandy clears it. So my moment, her moments, PK moments were all great for our success.
Oh gosh, those are the moments that live in your memory,
Unforgettable.
seared forever. I mean,
Unforgettable.
I can see the video in my head. Imagine being in like first-person perspective of the moment. Goodness. Kristine, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.